Now let's have a look at opening workbooks. If you go to File and Open, you can see here a list of the most recently used documents. So if I wanted to open up any particular document, I could just click on it. So maybe open up my first workbook. There we go. But suppose it wasn't one of my most recently used documents. Well, I can go File, Open, Browse. So here I can go through the folder structure. So I can go say into Level 1 Session 2 folder, and then if I didn't like that and I wanted to go out, well, I can either click on a folder if I can see it on the left hand side, or I can click on a previous folder, so Excel 1 or Documents for instance. So if I wish to open up my practice workbook, I can open it up from here as well. So let's close that down. Now, when I went into the folder, Level 1, Session 2, you'll have noticed it seemed to be blank. And there are other files in there. It's just that at the moment, what you are viewing are all Excel files. Let's change that. We'll click on this box at the bottom right, which says All Excel Files. This is the filter of what we can see. And if I change that to all files, you can see that we have got text files and PDF files as well. So let's open up this musiclist.txt file. I'll click Open. So we have a text import wizard. Now, text files are probably one of the most common files that you'll be opening up in Excel, which aren't native Excel spreadsheets. So it's probably worth spending a bit of time looking at this. So we've got two different types of text files. There are delimited and fixed width. What's this all about? Well, let's have a look at this in the preview. In row 1, we've got 6 live 12-1.mp3. Now the 6 is in one cell, and live 12-1.mp3 is the name of a file which is in another cell. But how is the computer going to know that? I mean, it looks right at the minute as if it is in just one big cell. So if I open up Notepad, what you can do in Notepad is to roughly align things together, is to put a tab. So 6 tab live 12-1 name of the file, and then next line 7 dash. And that line lines it up even when I start going to double digits or triple digits. The next cell, the file name, is in the same place. Now that is called a delimited file. And the reason why it's called that is because something, in this case the tab that I've just pressed, is separating each field. Now the alternative to this is fixed width. This doesn't use things like tab. Instead, this uses sort of spacers to separate out the words, the individual cells. So let's put in the number 6 and press a few spacers to get up to the same sort of position. So the number of spaces that you'll be typing is variable. Here I'm typing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because I was typing in a 1-digit number. But if I type in a really long number, then I'll be typing in fewer spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is called fixed width. Whereas previously, when we're using some sort of delimiter, and it could be a tab, it could be the pound sign or the hash sign, could be commas, could be semicolons, that is called a delimited. Now you'll notice right at the moment on screen, both of these look identical. However, this one is delimited because it is separated by one big tab. This is fixed width. It is separated by lots of little spaces. So if you're at all unsure what your text file is, my advice, try one and then try the other and see which one works. So I'm going to say this is a delimited file. Click Next. And it's guessed that the delimiter is a tab. So other guesses could be semicolons, commas, spaces, and so forth. And you'll notice that it is now in the data preview aligned it correctly so that all of these numbers, which were in the first column, are separated from the file names. So if I just click back, you can see that in the original preview, these cells weren't aligned at all. But now, because we've got the tab delimiter, they are. I'll click on the step to get into step 3 of 3 of the text import wizard. This often isn't used. It's just used to say if you want to say this column is a text, this column is a date. Very rare you'd use it. The only real times I would use it, to be honest, is if I was importing a date and I was here in Britain and I was importing dates in the American date format, or vice versa. So you're in America and you're importing some in the British or maybe the Japanese file format, but very rare. So just leave that alone most of the time and click finish. And here you can see the end result. We have got in column A all of the numbers and in column B all of the file names. So what we have done, we have imported what was a notepad document which you could open up in Word and separated it into 2 different columns. So let's just close that down and open up the second text file that we have. So music list 2. So let's have a look at it on the screen. Do you think it is delimited or fixed width? Have a look at the preview. It looks like it's fixed width because previously in delimited, the actual lines, the different columns were not aligned to each other. Now they are. So they have been aligned using lots of little spaces. So we need to say it is fixed width this time. So I'll click on next. Step 2 of 3 is a bit different this time. It's not asking you where your delimiters are, it's asking you where the column breaks are. So at the moment it's got a column break here after the second character. Let's scroll down. Now you won't actually see the right at the bottom, but later on we may have 3-digit numbers and 4-digit numbers which the computer has not identified. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this arrow 2 spaces to the right so it more closely aligns with the start of the file name. If you wanted to create a new break line, you would double click. Well, you click at the desired place, and to delete it you double click. And to move it, as I say, you just drag it. So I'll click next, I'll click finish. I don't often use this final step. And here you can see exactly the same result, except it was the source data that was different. So here we got the source data was fixed width. It's imported it, it's given the same information because it's the same data, just differently presented. Now there was a third file in my folder and it was a PDF file. Now PDFs are not openable in Excel. If I try and click on it, we'll get an error message saying, I don't know what a PDF is, it looks like a text file to me, do I want to open it? So what you need to do if you want to open up a PDF file that has been created in Microsoft Office is open it up in Word. So if I click Browse, go to the right folder, there's my PDF. I can open it in Word. It says it will now try to convert it to Word. And here it is opening Word, and so we can now copy and paste it into Excel. We haven't yet come across copy and paste, but we will do soon, and we would be able to, as far as it was able to open it correctly in PDF, import the data into Microsoft Excel. Now there are other types of files that you can open, other file types, but quite frankly they aren't often used. Certainly not on a regular basis. The only one I might have to open is an XML file, but it does a fairly good job at opening them. So really, those are your main ones. You would be opening up native Excel files, and you would be opening up text files. The vast majority of the others you won't need to open, but it's nice to know you can do if you want to.